For all of you who already know, I am Pastor Michael. I'm the youth pastor here at the Springs Church. We want to take a few moments just to welcome you to the new Anthem Sanctuary. As you can see, God has provided so wonderfully for us here. As you came in the back, you might have noticed that we had new t-shirts and new stickers for sale with a new Anthem logo. We are celebrating our 4th year completed as a youth ministry here at Anthem. The past 4 years have been an incredible time for us as a youth ministry. I remember when we first began and started out, we were meeting at the Every Home for Christ building. I think there was 13 youth in the youth group at that time, and we would meet in a little classroom with a little table and a little drawing board, and we would sit there and play a guitar and sing a few songs around the table, and then we would have this type of Bible discussions. And after that, it was amazing to see the youth group begin to grow, and God had opened up a door for us to start holding services in the upper floor at the Every Home for Christ building. We had about maybe 20 or 30 students that would come out every single Wednesday and begin to grow more and more and more. And before you knew it, we were given the downstairs at the Every Home for Christ building, and we had our own little stage, and we were able to create a youth band. And just to see what God was doing, even in one of our first years in the youth group, we were given the door and the opportunity to head to New York on our first mission trip together. And we headed out to New York City to work and partner with Times Square Church and to serve on the streets and homeless ministries and nursing homes. And it was just a very exciting time. I was a young youth pastor. I didn't really know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. But God was really blessing us, and there was a great fellowship, great friendships happening, great ministry that was occurring. And it was only the beginning of what God had next. I remember our time at Every Home for Christ as we were meeting there, and we were just praying as leaders that God would open up doors for us to be able to serve there in the community. God brought us that wonderful ministry, More Than a Meal, and we began going downtown and just serving the homeless. I remember many of you having wonderful conversations and praying with those in need and bringing people up from the ministry to church. It was just an awesome time. And God finally, after our New York trip, had opened up more doors to missions. We ended up in Guatemala together, which was exciting to watch you guys riding around on the back of pickup trucks and through villages and serving God in these very poor, remote regions of the mountains. And then Ireland had opened up, and the incredible opportunities to go on the streets of Ireland and to share the gospel and share dramas, and to watch some of you get up and share open mic testimonies as your knees were knocking, and some of you guys were vomiting over in storefronts because of nerves. But God was faithful through all of it, and He really has used many of you to touch many lives around the world. After we got back from those trips, we just continued in our Wednesday night fellowships, and God opened up a door for the Springs Church to move down to Every Home for Christ. For Christ, what was that? Phil Long. Okay. Ready? When we came back from Ireland, we continued with our Wednesday night fellowships together at Every Home for Christ, and then God had opened up an incredible door for the Springs Church to have the opportunity to move and to find their home at this building here, the Phil Long Expo Center. And I remember we began meeting as a youth group just in an open building. We would have all types of harvest festivals and different activities here because the building was so large, and ultimately ended up in the theater that we have spent many Wednesday nights at over in the corner. And just some of the activities that we got to do here, from the Pilgrims versus Pirates versus Indians versus whatever else we did, to the glow-in-the-dark, capture the flag games, and the UPG activities. It's just been a real blessing having all this open space and the activities that we've been able to have. And now God has opened up an incredible door for a whole new chapter with this incredible sanctuary. And to be honest, a whole fresh load of you young people now that we're going into our 5th year as a youth group. It's been a real blessing and a privilege as a youth pastor to watch many of you that we've started with in our first year, and after 4 years see so many graduate and even come back now and work as youth ministers or be out towards schools or colleges or in different ministries or internships at different mission bases around the world. It's been an amazing 4 years. And we know God only has greater things ahead, which is one of the reasons that we relaunched a whole new logo and got new t-shirts just to celebrate a new chapter for Anthem Youth Ministry and a new chapter for us as a family and body of Christ as we come together every Wednesday, all of us from different high schools and different families, as one student body to worship God together and to serve Him in these years to come. We have had some great times in the past, but we are really looking forward to what God has for the future. As a good friend of mine once said, there's only awesomeness ahead. And we are praying to see the doors God opens for the mission fields. We thank God for the doors in Guatemala. We thank God for Ireland. We thank God for the trip to Times Square Church in New York and our time downtown here at Mission Colorado. But we're praying to see if He'll open up doors to Africa for us and other places around the world that we can serve and be a blessing to people in need. We're also looking forward to the fun and the fellowship. We have an incredible leadership team and a lot of new leaders who have come on this year. Young leaders who have fresh and creative ideas, and a lot of our staple leaders that have been with us for so many years have grown so many great relationships with you. So we're looking forward to that dynamic as we go forward. And we're looking, yeah. All right, I got one more thing. We're also looking forward because there is a slight rumor that there might be a new Dodge That Part 2 video coming out soon. So we are definitely looking forward to that in the years to come. But all in all, this will be a fresh launch for us as a youth group, our 5th year, 4 years completed. Many of you who have graduated and many of you who are now here, excited for the things that God has and what He's going to be doing. And I don't want to forget to mention that we are beginning to launch a full youth worship band again. So our worship times will have a full band where many of you will be participating on instruments and singing praises to God. So we are really looking forward to just how God is building Wednesday night, the things that He is adding, and just praying that His presence will always be here touching our hearts. Ready? Good. I don't want to forget to mention all the incredible miracles that God has been doing in many of the young people's lives. We have seen people set free of suicide. We have seen people set free of cutting. We have seen incredible healings, even here at the youth group, Levi Anderson being one. I know he wouldn't mind me using his name. We've seen healings on the mission field. We've seen people who are blind have their eyes opened. Just incredible things that God has done. He's healed. I don't want to use that. Sorry. Okay. Keep going, though? Yeah. All right. What was I going to say? All right. So we thank God for all those wonderful things, but we're believing Him for even greater things as we head into these next couple of years together. Also just want to recap a little bit on some of our winter retreats. I remember our first winter retreat, I think it was 2010. It was the first time ever even leading a winter retreat. I had no idea what I was doing as a youth pastor, but God was so faithful. He was showing up in those meetings. I remember the altar calls, and even some of you who had come up just to check it out, who really weren't even born again yet, gave your life to God there at those retreats. And they only got better as time went on, as we got to 2011 and 2012. And as last year, just the God's presence that came down. I remember there were some nights at winter retreats, it'd be about 3 hours of worship and just singing and dancing, because God would meet us in such powerful ways and just manifest Himself. And can't forget the games either. I've seen many of you guys suffer many injuries from my contorted games that came from my sick, twisted mind. But through it all, God has sanctified me, and the games are getting safer as we go. So we're expecting this year for great things, wonderful times, and people to be safe, which is an important thing. So we're looking forward to that.